First of all, why did we come up with a new bank reconciliation feature? What is the problem we're trying to solve? As you all know, as an organization, you need to do proper accounting, make sure your bank accounts match the records in your system. This can be time consuming and for some of you frustrating. We want to make this easier for you by automating income and expense tracking and by shortening the time for the bank reconciliation in your month-end closing. As you know, Managed Casa already supports manual reconciliation as well as semi-automated reconciliation with many of our clients subscribing to Bank Connect or Bank Sync, but it's only available for US-based bank accounts. Now, with the new and improved bank reconciliation, we simplified the process of connecting bank accounts, and we vastly improved the automated matching, and we made it available to everybody, even without subscribing to the bank connection feature. In fact, we're retiring the old bank sync feature. So we listened to you, and your feedback helped us to make the improvements. The benefits are the fact that you save time. And we have examples of some early testers who told us that it took them from several days to a few hours. And that was a sizable client in Northern California. The rules are now AI supported. The system learns from your previous matches. And all of this without kind of turning off the old manual bank reconciliation for whatever reason. If you still need that, you can still do that. But after today, I hope all of you will agree that this is the new bank reconciliation is a huge improvement, and you'll start using this. We also have a pretty detailed article that we just posted in our help center. So you see the address on the bottom of the screen. So please feel free to check it out there. We'll also leave the recording of this session in the Help Center. So with that, I'd like to hand it over to my colleague Drew, who will provide a little bit more details before he is going to jump into the live demo. All right, Drew, all yours.
Thanks, Uli. Appreciate it. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm glad you could make it to this webinar, and I'm part of the engineering organization, and I'm going to provide a little bit more context and then also do a demo for you all, which I'm really quite excited about. So, we at Managed Casa, we've had reconciliation in the past. For those of you who do it, it's something that you need to do from a business perspective. It's really important to make sure that your books are aligned with what's in the bank. All the parts and stuff have been in Managed Casa, similar to invoices that we did on the last webinar. What we've done is we've kind of consolidated that into one place, and we've made it easy to jump back and forth to really help with the process of reconciliation. And we had the process. It's just a matter of cleaning it up, making it simpler, making it smarter, making it a lot easier to use. Uli, can you go to the next slide? Uli, please. Thank you. All right. So what we want to help you do is, if you're in the US, we've simplified the process of how to connect to the banks and the flow. We've got a number of bank partnerships that we're really excited about that further streamline the automation behind the scenes. We have access, if it's not one of our premier partners, we use Plaid behind the scenes to be able to connect to any bank in the US. They've got the widest number of banks that are available to be able to connect automatically. And if you're outside the US, or if your bank doesn't necessarily support connection with Plaid, we actually allow you to, and we'll get into this in a moment, but we allow you to connect all those bank accounts. But the whole thing is we want to be able to save you hours to be able to track and take advantage of the full automation that Managed Casa has. Once you've connected your bank or you've uploaded your transactions, we've got a very simple interface that allows you to look at your bank register in Managed Casa, your bank register, and the transactions that you downloaded from the bank. You can review them. If you're missing transactions, with a click of a button, you can add those transactions. If you've already added them and you need to find them, we've really simplified the ability to match. And all of this is to really make sure your books are in alignment to see how your rental property management business or your HOA is doing. Willie, can you go to the next slide? Thank you. All right. So, like I mentioned before, we've really tried to streamline this process. We know that if you can get information from your bank, and if you can bring it in and bring it into Managed Casa so that you can see, okay, these are the transactions that are in my bank. These are the transactions in Managed Casa. It actually gives you the ability to reconcile super simple, right? Because the bank has a number of information that we don't have, right? They have when did this transaction, when did this payment clear, right? What's the clear date? When did it happen, right? And by bringing those transactions into Managed Casa via the direct connection or a file upload, it gives you that much more security and that much more confidence that when you go and you match up and you say, okay, these are the transactions in my bank statement, these are the transactions in Managed Casa, it makes it super quick and super simple. We support, out of the gate, we support two different file types. One is the QuickBooks Online file. It's typically a QBO. Most banks today, most business accounts have a QBO file export that you can have. So if you can't connect via one of our Premier partners or via Plaid, you should be able to download your transactions using QuickBooks Online type file format or a simple CSV. And our systems are smart enough to be able to read those files and read those transactions, and to be able to upload those transactions. And I'll also show you. Actually, go to the next slide, Uli, please. We have built into this a whole rule-based. Actually, I think that's the next slide. But when the transactions come in, you can categorize them. If the transactions don't exist in Managed Casa, you can categorize them, and you can say, okay, this is an advertising expense, or this is a marketing expense, or this is a software service expense, and you can categorize it right within the matching system. Like I said, just a click of a button allows you to do it. You can confirm, if you categorize it and oops, I made a mistake, you can actually recategorize it right there, right? You can say, okay, this isn't marketing, this is advertising instead, right? Or some other thing that you reclassified it. You can set up automated rules when you categorize it. You can say, okay, well, this is something that comes in every month. I don't really want to categorize. I don't create it in Managed Casa, but I want to create it every month when it comes in. Just whenever I upload transactions or whenever transactions get downloaded into the system from your bank, you can automatically categorize them using our rule-based engine. So it's all about trying to simplify the process and automate this and save you time so you can be doing the things that you need to be doing for your business, as opposed to stuff that you have to do. And the automation that we're providing with this revamp, really, we believe will help you along that way. So can you flip to the next slide? So this is a lot of the categorization here, and we'll show you how the rules-based engine works. Is we've looked at a number of other or companies like QuickBooks and how they do it, and really kind of say, okay, well, let's take the best of that and the best of this and combine them and put it into the product. So we've done just a ton of research on how in general things work, and then we said, okay, well, we can do better, right? And that's what we've done with the matching, with the rule-based algorithm that we've implemented as well. And we're really excited to be able to say, okay, well, you can create your own rules, and the rules are specific to either a specific bank or globally. And anyway, I'll show you all that stuff with the demo, but it's really, um, the whole gist of this is to simplify the process so that you can be sure that you have all the transactions that are in your bank and that they're in Managed Casa, and all your reports are going to be 100% accurate going forward. And really, that's the whole goal of the bank reconciliation, is to really streamline your process and know that everything, you've accounted for everything that you need to account for every month. Okay, so with that, I'm going to flip to and show you a little bit about this, which like I said, I'm really super excited about this. Our engineers have been working really, really hard to get this for you. Okay. All right. So, and this is all available today. It's out there, and you can start playing around with it. Yeah, whenever you feel like. Hopefully, later today you start connecting everything. So, we've labeled all of the new features beta just to kind of highlight it. We're refining a couple of things, but we've had a number of people testing this already, and it's been absolutely fantastic so far. So when you go here on the left nav, we've renamed a couple of things. We used to have accounting here under transactions. We've moved a number of different things out of the accounting side, and we've created a new home for them, which makes it a little bit easier. For example, bank accounts used to be under accounting. It's now its own tab. And within bank accounts, you can see all the different bank accounts that you have, and you can edit them from here as well. It gives you the ability to edit. You can also do quick links to go to the reconciliation side of things. So we've moved out bank accounts. We've moved out, we had recurring or scheduled transactions, scheduled expenses, scheduled income. With the invoices, we moved all the income recurring into the invoices tab, and we covered that on the last webinar. But then the recurring is basically everything else, right? Which is like scheduled expenses and that kind of stuff exists in the recurring tab here. So within transactions, we've really kind of revamped the look to really make it easier for you and to see. Is in the top section here, we've got the banks that you're working on, and really streamlined sections. In the bank transactions, this is where you can download transactions. You can get them set up. If you create a new bank account, I'll just create one here. When you come to initially, when you have your own like bank account from the beginning and you haven't matched any transactions, you'll see that the bank's not connected, and we give you a number of different ways to connect that bank, or you can upload transactions manually. So when you connect the bank, we have a number, we have a really strong integration with Pacific Premier and Alliance Association Bank, and we're looking to create more partnerships with other banks in the future. But with these two banks, if you're a partner with them, we have a really deep and integrated partnership with them, which allows us to handle lockbox payments. We have direct APIs with them. Transactions just flow seamlessly between the two of those. If you don't use those banks, we actually give you the ability to connect your bank with Plaid, and Plaid, like I said before, has hundreds of thousands of banks in the U.S. Whether they're a credit union or a bank, they work really hard to connect as many banks as they possibly can. And in most cases, you should be able to connect to your bank via Plaid. If for some reason Plaid doesn't support them or your bank doesn't support Plaid, we also provide you the ability to just upload transactions manually. And this is where you would get the CSV file from the bank or from a QBO file. You can drag either type of those formats. The system is smart enough; it'll recognize what type of file it is, and it will handle it appropriately. Once you've got a bank connected, like for example, this bank is connected. It's got transactions that are flowing in automatically. You'll see on the left here, these are all the transactions that come in from the bank, and the name. What comes in is you've got the date that the bank says I first saw it. It's got the description that comes in from the bank. Usually when you look at your bank statement or you register, it's whatever is going to be in that register when you look at your bank statement. And then if it can, it'll classify it into a category. And this is your typical, what your bank typically does. If you get like a year-end statement from your bank, it says, okay, you spent so much in service financial loans and mortgages or whatever, right? This is the bank classification. It's not our classification. It's whatever the bank is classifying that particular transaction for. Now, when these, and then if it's Plaid, it'll come in whenever new transactions appear. Plaid will push us that data, so it'll just always be up to date. Whenever you come in here, if you've got new transactions, they'll just show up. If it's one of our premier partnerships, we pull those transactions and we'll look back over time to download the new transactions as well. So we get notified both ways, whether it's Plaid or if it's one of our premier partnerships, we get that data automatically. At any time, you can always upload manually. Like say, for example, if you've got past transactions that didn't necessarily appear, you can go in and you can just upload manually. Again, it just gives you the ability to augment the data with whatever that's missing or that didn't get that maybe it's in the past. So this first panel here for review is just all the list of transactions that you haven't done anything with, right? Where there hasn't been classified, or maybe it was category matched automatically via a rule. And we give you the option here at any point to be able to say, yep, oh, that's right, that was that. So you can automatically approve it, and it will update the list and it will move it to the categorized matched area. If you made a mistake and you're like, oh, I didn't mean to do that, you can always go into here and you can undo that particular match. Super, super simple. Within the review, if for some reason, we don't recommend this because it's always good to have everything match your bank statement, but we also give you the ability to exclude certain transactions. You're like, I'm not going to keep track of that. I can just exclude it. I'll handle that later when I do all the final matching. But say you've got a number of transactions here that don't actually exist. Like for example, let's look at this Twilio. It's a service. It's a software service. Say I'm like, I thought I recorded that. You can go into this match existing, and it will show you all of the transactions that have been recorded in Managed Casa already, but they haven't been matched, right? They haven't been connected. So for example, I can see, oh, I've got the software services here. I paid $7. Oh yeah, that was the Twilio, right? So I can just go ahead and match that and then save it right there. And it will come back to the screen and it'll say, okay, that one was matched. Great. And you're done. And you can approve that and move on. Now, say for example, it's like, oh shoot, I didn't do this one. I haven't recorded it. We give you the ability to automatically match it, or to categorize it. So I can go in here and I can say, oh yeah, that was it was something for me, the business, and it was software services, and I'm going to charge it against my association. Right. So I can go ahead and I can confirm that. And what that will do is it will actually create the transaction in Managed Casa, automatically mark it as paid, and it will match it. So it'll do a whole bunch of things right here so that with one click, right, it'll basically create all of that information in Managed Casa, and you don't have to do much, right? Because we already know the amount in the bank and all that kind of good stuff. If I want to be able to say, okay, anything from Twilio coming forward, anything that has this, I actually just want to automatically match it. I know what it is. So I can confirm this match, this categorization, and then create a rule at the same time. And this is where it becomes super, super powerful and automated as time goes on, is you can say, okay, automatically approve this. It's an expense transaction. If the description starts with Twilio, right, then I want to add, and I can say ignore or match, or like there's things that I can do here, but I'm going to create a new software services against all of this stuff, and I'm just going to say I paid it via e-payment. So this allows me to say, okay, going forward, now anytime these transactions come in, I'm going to automatically match it and move on. Okay, I'm not going to do that for now because I want to keep this the way it is right now. Okay. Now, if I go in and I've created, like say in the past here, I created this Calendly, and I categorized it before, and I say, oh shoot, that's not marketing. I want to reclassify that as a software service. I can go in here and I can just change it as a software service, and that will reclassify that within Managed Casa, so that my reporting, my income and expense reports, will now show that particular expense was a software service instead of a marketing expense. So it allows me to do that reclassification. And again, if I automatically do, if I do a match wrong, I can undo it and it'll revert it back to normal. All right. I also have the ability to approve all matches. Once, if I go through all this stuff and I'm like, okay, yeah, go ahead and approve them all, I can do that. If I've excluded any transactions by mistake, I can go in and I can click in here and I can unexclude it as well. Now, while I'm doing this, while I'm matching, there's a couple of things that I may want to be able to see. I may want to be able to see, okay, well, what's going on with this thing? Let me go back to the bank register, and I can see within the register itself, this is right here in this tab here, but I switched over. I can see, okay, well, which ones have I matched already? Which ones have I recorded? Which ones have I reconciled? It gives me a really quick way of being able to look at, the bank register that's recorded in Managed Casa, and I can compare it to a bank register that I got from the bank. So it gives me a quick way of going back and forth between the transactions that I've matched and the bank register that I have. So as I'm reconciling, as I'm going back and forth, and I've got the bank transactions, Now I can compare it to the register, and I can look at the register and managed CASA, and I can look at what's in the bank, and they should all match, right? Which makes it super, super simple. Now, if I were doing, if I did like transfers between um, different money movement between one banking account, all of those also get reconciled, and all of those also get, um, get translated down from the bank register. Now, so here's where the power really comes in. Is I've now matched all of the bank transactions. I've matched them. I've downloaded all the transactions. I've matched them to the transactions in Managed Casa. This is like if I were in this one, it's all clear. Everything's been matched. Everything's been approved. At that time, I'll be able to say, okay, well, now I can go in and I can finish the actual reconciliation process. And in this case, I've created a couple of different reconciliations, and here it's just a matter of going in and saying, yep, it's all good. And then I can see any differences that potentially have come out that it didn't reconcile. But it really, once all those transactions are there, it you get to the point where everything's been all locked and loaded, and everything matches, and you get the difference of zero, and you're finished, and you're ready to go. Again, if you make any mistakes, or you say, I missed some stuff, and maybe I kind of fudged it a little bit, I can reopen this reconciliation at any time, and it frees up all the transactions to be able to make the adjustments that I need to make or that I want to make. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about rules. So here's the list of rules that I have. So I've created rules, I've made them, I've adjusted them, and now say I want to pause a rule, or maybe I created a rule that it's like, okay, well, yeah, no, this particular rule, I want to do something with. So what you can do is you can turn off a rule here. You can search for rules. You can actually create rules, like say, hey, I know in the next 2 months I'm going to get a whole bunch of different things. So when I create a rule here, I give it a name. I can apply it to all bank accounts, or I can say, let me just apply it to this one bank account. I can choose how to do, whether I will automatically approve these. I always know anything that comes in with this will have that. I'll just approve it and we'll be done. Again, I can always unapprove it. I can unmatch it. I can move it out of the categorized list at any time, whether it was applied by a rule or not. We give ways of saying, okay, well, I want to create an expense transaction. I can say, when it says contains, does this word exist in a specific, does it exist within the phrase that comes from the bank, or does it always start with this? I can also create a rule that says, okay, anytime something comes in for $12.56, that's what I'm going to use that rule for. I'm going to create it based on that particular amount, right? Within the rules, I can also say, if something comes in or something comes in from a certain vendor that I never want to reconcile, I never want to match, right? I can always choose to ignore it. Or I can say, okay, well, let me see if I can find it within the system. Like if it comes in, automatically match it based on certain criteria. If I'm going to add it, I have the ability to go in, and I can even go to a specific, say, okay, always attach this to a specific unit, right, or a specific property. I have the ability to get really fine detail into it, or to a specific property owner. right? When I create this transaction, I can really refine it down to exactly, who this is for and how it's going to be classified when it comes in to manage costs and when the rule gets run. Okay. Yeah, we have a number of powerful filters and stuff here apply within this, and also within the searching. We also give you the ability to search based on property, transaction, all kinds of things that you can search on and filters, and those filters are available across the board as well. But that's our new flow, and we're super excited about it, and we hope you are as well. So this that part concludes the demo. I think yeah, that's what I have. Uli, you want to talk about what's next? You're on mute.
All right, thank you, Drew. So very exciting. What I heard you saying and showing, Drew, is that the real game changer is the AI-driven automation and the rules that you can set up, and ultimately it reduces time to do these recurring chores of reconciling monthly bank statements, and also to improve reports overall. So I think that's what I've heard, and we got some questions from the audience, which I suggest we jump into right now and make this a lively dialogue. So I'm going to read the questions, and then Drew, if you or anybody else here in the panel would like to answer, please do so. First question, would the system avoid erroneous duplicate bank imports? So
That's a great question, because the nature of, I don't know if you've ever worked with banks from a technology perspective, but banks are really good at handling money. Banks in general don't always necessarily handle technology well. So there's in the cases of when we have our premier partnerships like Premier, Pacific Premier and Alliance Association, we handle duplicates. We handle the basically the transaction. It's smart enough, the APIs that we worked with them for, nothing gets duplicated. It does look backs based on things that maybe they weren't available on time. In those cases, the system handles those perfectly, where it doesn't produce erroneous loads. If you connect via Plaid also, we get information back via that integration, and the system is smart enough, it will make sure that nothing gets duplicated from that as well. So that completely flows well. If you choose to do manual uploads, right, there's not enough information to determine that something is either the same charge over and over again or duplicate. So on a manual upload, you need to be careful not to upload twice. If you do happen to upload twice, you have the ability to exclude those and to keep those, to fix those. So manual, you're on your own. Everything else, it's smart enough to avoid the erroneous uploads.
All right. Next question. There are a number of questions regarding rules, and I'm gonna try to group them all together. So the first is about, can you show again where the button is to create these rules? So I'm gonna stop share. Drew, if you could share your screen
Sure.
one more time, please. So it's about the button to create a new rule.
Yeah, there's two different ways you can do it. when you categorize, you can confirm this match, this creation, and you can create a new rule from that, and it'll pre-fill the categories and the vendors and that kind of stuff. So you can create a rule directly when you categorize new transactions, or at any time you can click on the rules tab here at the top, and you can create a rule right there.
All right. I guess that answers that. Another rule question is the following. How do rules get applied if one or so if there are more than one rule set up? So for example, in the order in which they were created. No, yeah. So how do rules, how do you have rules applied if there is more than one rule that might meet the criteria?
Yeah, that's a great question. So basically, if you got a rule, like say you created the rule twice, or you created rules that potentially would overlap from how they match, right? The system, what it will do is it will do basically the rule that you created first will win. So it goes through based on order, right? First, second, third, right? In the list here. So it'll basically go down the list, and once it finds it, it'll apply that rule and it will move on. So you can create different rules that would apply to the same transaction, but the first one that you created wins.
All right, very good. More on rules. Can you apply rules only for a specific bank account?
Yeah, that's another great question. So you do have the ability when you create a rule is if you leave the bank account blank, it's gonna apply it to all bank accounts. Any transaction that gets uploaded, it'll that rule will run against. But say you have like a trust account where you're earning interest and you want to apply a rule based on that. So you can just go, okay, so only for this bank, any transactions that get uploaded into this bank, this rule is going to fire on. So it gives you kind of the control over how you want your rules to be applied.
Got it. And I remember you showed that. The next question on rules is, can I categorize the rule for a given property and unit? And I think that was answered in your demo, Drew, right? I think I've seen you doing exactly that, selecting
Yeah, you can when you go and you say, okay, how do I want to create it? You can go down and you can choose whether it's association, your company, or a property like a main property or a unit within that property.
Cool. All right. Then I have a set of questions here regarding, I think the file upload. The first one is there a template for the manual download? So
I think if it's not there today, there should be an example file of that within the help document.
yeah, I think we'd be describing in the help document, and every bank is a little different. We tried that with a large amount of banks. There are some banks that do not provide a file download of a transaction list, but most banks do, and it's true, you said, right? QBO, QuickBooks Online file format, and CSV, comma separated values. Those are the very, very common ones that we do support.
Yeah. And there's really, with the CSV, there's three columns, and because they come from a number of different banks, there's really three columns that we care about. One's date, amount, and description. Those are the three columns that we care about. But yeah, we'll circle back around and we'll make sure that the help document has a good example there.
And it does. It actually does. Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right. So I'm looking for, yeah, I think few more questions that just trickling in. Locking of finished reconciliations. Do you allow for approval by a manager? So once you've finished a reconciliation, is it locked or not? And is there a way to have someone formally approve? I guess that's the question, Drew.
Yeah, that's a great question. So once you finish the reconciliation and you finish it, right? It's finished. That reconciliation gets locked. All the transactions that are associated with that reconciliation get locked. There isn't currently a formal approval kind of mechanism between different people. That's more of an internal process within your organization, and we don't want to stand in the way of internal processes that need to happen. Whether you have someone go through here and basically prepare the reconciliation where everything matches and you get to the point where everything's all clear, and at that point you say, when I match here, as I do the reconcile, these, as I'm in process, these lock those transactions, right? So it will lock it like even before I finish it. So however you want to handle your internal processes, whether you approve it, before you actually finish it and save the results, or you do that after. That's up to you.
All right. That's all the questions we got. Thank you very, very much to our audience for paying close attention and being very active in submitting questions. Well, with that, I would like to thank all of you for taking the time out of your busy schedules so close to the holidays. And speaking of holidays, we really want to wish you a happy holidays from all of us here at Manage Casa. And we're looking forward to seeing you in the next webinar. So thank you very much again and have a good rest of the day. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.